Welcome back to the Wisdom Lifestyle Money Show. I'm your host, Scott Dillingham. Today I have the man, the myth, and the legend, Millan Jankovich with us today. How are you?
I'm great, Scott. Great to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no worries. So I thought it would be really cool to have you on here because a lot of the investors we work with are tapping into the MLI Select or developments, whether it's their first time or they're more experienced, right? Everybody's at a different spot on the journey, but you're someone who's lived that, you're doing it, right? You've got the contractor team, the property management, the development, like you've got all angles, even the lending side, lined up. So I'd love to hear a bit about your story and how you got started down this path, and then we'll talk about some of your projects.
Absolutely, Scott. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. I started off in our real estate journey probably over 10 years now. So 10 years ago, we started buying single family homes in Toronto, and with the idea of converting them to duplexes and triplexes. And that was a tremendous experience. Got to learn a lot about what it takes to manage properties, renovations, and everything associated with sort of getting investors and putting up our own money into the project and financing and the whole all aspects of it. And so that portfolio grew and grew, and then I transitioned over to investing in more apartment building style buildings around 2021. So we did an acquisition in Kitchener and then some more in Cambridge. And then a couple years ago, we did our largest acquisition to date in Hamilton. And that was an apartment building complex. So we keep sort of evolving and learning as we go. And there's a lot to learn. So it's been
No,
quite a ride. And yeah, we're looking to see where we go next.
that's awesome. No, I love it. And like, what made you think real estate, right? I know it's been 10 years, but what made you think let's do this?
So I love real estate. I love running businesses, and it's kind of like every single property is its own little business. And so I come from an operations background. I was in consulting, and I've done operations before that. So it's just a matter of I really enjoyed sort of working with the tenants. We're providing a lot of value, creating really, really good rental spaces for people to live. And so, that passion for real estate and my passion for running a business and operation sort of collided together, and it turned out that real estate was the field that I wanted to get into.
No, that's awesome. I love it. Similar with me, although for me, I read my thing was I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Once I read that, I was like, I love this. You ever read it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I haven't read it. That's one of the books that I want to read. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was a really good book. But I gotta read Rich Dad Poor Dad, so I'll have to pick that
Yeah,
one up.
you'll like it. When you read it, you'll be like, okay, I get it, because now you're an investor, so it's that mindset. That's what it taught me. It taught me mindset. Thinking instead of thinking like somebody borrowing, like instead of thinking like a consumer, like I'm taking on this debt. You look at it more like an investment. Yeah, I'm taking on debt, but the tenants are paying it, so it just gets you set up. So I mean, you're already there, but it's still a good read if you're looking for
Well,
something.
I know you've taken that sort of model and applied it to your portfolio, right? Which
Yeah.
is really amazing as well, what you've managed
No.
to do.
Well, thank you. No, absolutely, and no, it's exciting, and I'm really looking forward to the future and just all the good stuff. And um, but for those that are listening here, um, right, I think a lot of people start off smaller. I know I did too, right? I definitely did. My first one was a single family house in Sarnia, right? So that's where a lot of people start. And I know you said in 2021 you got into the multifamily. How did you make that jump? I think a lot of people struggle through that jump.
That's a really good question. That's a really, really good question. I think if you're starting from scratch, you have no choice but to start small. You don't have the connections, the track record, probably both lenders and investors maybe more skeptical to trust you with their cash given lack of track record. So you kind of have no choice to start small, or alternatively, you could find partners. We love to partner with investors directly on projects, or other or pool investors together on specific projects specifically. So I think in order to, if you're going to start from scratch, I think you do have to start relatively small until you build those connections and sort of have that track record. And then ultimately, as you grow and grow, you learn, you evolve, and then that experience naturally lends itself well to larger scale projects.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And were you intimidated or like anything? Like, did you have any hurdles to get over, making that transition?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think when I first started in real estate, I had a mentor, and the buck kind of stopped at him. But then, as we transitioned to doing our own thing, we the buck then stops at me. So want to make sure that everything is managed correctly. There's a lot of things that particularly when you're dealing with investor money, you need to be careful. For example, you need to make sure your accounting's up to date, that you're communicating regularly with your investors, and that you're basically doing everything that you need to do to protect their money and make sure that you're doing your best to grow their money. So I
Yeah.
think that over time you get more comfortable with it. The scale increases and continues to increase, and then you just adapt to the environment. And the good thing is that as you get more and more experience and you have things under your belt, then it just becomes easier and easier because you know the playbook, you know what you need to do.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, this is my own curiosity because I've never asked you this before, but is that why you built it out so Keezy has multifacets to it, right? You're just trying to protect yourself, or did you see additional business, opportunities and branching out to different things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, one of the things that I learned very early on in real estate is that you have to sort of have control over your destiny in one way or another. What I mean by that is you have to either hire really, really good companies that do the construction for you or the property management, and you have to oversee them correctly and make sure that everything is running smoothly. Or alternatively, you can have your own sort of companies that take care of these things. And the benefit of doing that, which is the route that we decided to go in, is we have complete control over the outcome. And so we have the ability to, through our experience, we know what kind of renovations we need to do. We have complete control over timelines. We have complete control over tenant selection, and there's just line of sight on everything. So I think that comes with a lot of benefits. It comes with a lot of challenges too. Real estate in general, in my opinion, is not a passive thing. You have to sort of be involved with it. But as soon as you start managing these trades and sort of these operational matters, it becomes even more active. So anyone that wants to go down that route, they have to be prepared that there's a lot more management involved.
Yeah, and you bring a good point, and I mean, we talked about this at lunch, but that's like for me growing my portfolio and doing mortgages and everything, it was really challenging because I thought it was like completely passive. Because I hired the property manager, like I did all this stuff, right? But it's not like you really do need to be involved. So I learned that and figured that out, and part of that is building a stronger team, but yeah, no, it's I love that. Now, I know you do a lot of different things, right? So you'll renovate buildings and traditionally they're your own. But what if somebody's listening to this and they're like, you know what? I have a project, I'd like to hire these guys to, complete it for me. Is that something that you do or you just work on your portfolio?
Yeah, no, we love to do that.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we're trying to grow our friends and our partners. And so if there's a project that we can help people complete, then we love to do that. And it often happens that we may help someone in one project and then they become investors, or we invest together in other projects. There are many times that investors in our fund we go out and maybe we buy some real estate on the side together and things like that. So we're always looking to grow our investors, our friends, and make new partnerships.
Yep. Yeah, which I think is fantastic. Because a lot of people, you just see a lot of people that are very closed off. And then the other thing that I see is I see people that want partners. They're looking for money on their projects. They're looking for things, but they lack the experience. And I think, when you hear in the news of investors partnering and projects failing, a lot of times it's because they are partnering with people that don't know very much about it, or the underwriting wasn't looked at properly, or the budgets were under what they should be. So I think that's what's really cool about you guys, is because you're doing it all. I feel like there could be mistakes on any project, right? Like, I still learn every day, even doing
Oh, yeah.
mortgages, right? But the fact that you guys are so experienced, right? It eliminates a lot of those mistakes that I see a lot of investors make. So I think kudos to you guys.
You're 100% correct. I mean, that's a really good point. There's a lot of little mistakes, or just mistakes in general, that can be eliminated with experience. So, in general, it's always good to partner with someone that's done it before, so that you can get it under your belt, as opposed to just learning from scratch. And the benefit with us is that we've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and we've learned from all the mistakes that we've made, and that really helps, because it feeds into your budgeting, it feeds into your financing, it feeds into everything. And also another great point you made is, like, multiple perspectives are very important. If we're working together on a project, we have a common goal to succeed. And so it's very natural to collect everyone's perspective and collectively decide what's the best path forward. So we often do that with many of our projects.
Yeah, and something else that stands out, like, as simple as it sounds, but a board of directors, right? Your project that you're doing in Hamilton, I toured it. It's fantastic. But you have a board of directors. There are so many people that don't have that. So to your point of the different perspectives and how to make it all work, like, I think that's fantastic that you guys have set that up.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Governance is very important. When I was in consulting, I was actually a director of governance. We advised on governance for a lot of different public companies. So governance is very, very important, and it gives confidence to investors, and it gives confidence to it gives confidence to ourselves too, that we're doing the right thing. But that doesn't mean that there's not room for improvement. We're always trying to improve, whether that means tightening up our books and getting them done faster, more financial controls, more oversight. These are all good things that lend itself well to a successful result.
No, that's awesome. I love it. Now, because we don't have a lot of time left in this episode, so I'd love to hear any project. You can pick a project, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you guys have turned over a property, or what you've done. So for those that are listening, can get an idea of the scope of work that you guys do. So if they're considering, making some type of partnership, they'll kind of know what they're getting their hands into.
Sure, absolutely. So we have done. I'll reference a couple projects because they're nearby, in Cambridge, and then maybe I'll touch on our Hamilton project. But a couple projects in Cambridge that we did is we took over. One was an off-market deal that we managed to secure, and we secured it completely vacant at a great price. So that right off the bat, I think our ability to select projects and find projects that are off-market. Right off the bat on closing, we're making money for investors. And so for that one, we got it vacant. We renovated the existing ones, but what made that project really cool is we took a empty commercial space that was in the back, and it was sort of like a warehouse or storage area with really high ceilings up on the second floor. And we went through the process to convert that to a residential unit. And this residential unit has really nice, big, huge windows, and very, very high ceilings, and it's 1,000 square feet. So we went from three residential units to four, and that added a tremendous amount of value. Another building that was right down the street from there, in Cambridge. It was a 8-unit property, and the rents were probably 100% below market. And over the course of a year and a half, we negotiated with the tenants. We helped a lot of them find other accommodations, and we helped them with financially. And we ended up getting that whole building vacant, and we turned it over. And for that building, it was challenging, but we ended up increasing the rental income by around 300% actually.
Wow.
And we doubled the NOI. And we did spend a lot of money to make it very, very premium. And we did very well with that one as well. So a lot of these projects that we have a window of 1 to 3 years, and we do significant value add to them. And we have various really cool strategies to sort of add value, whether it's adding units, working on turning over units, doing other work or other additions. We do all of that. And then to touch on our biggest project in Hamilton, that was 107 units between two buildings. And we spent about a year. I worked very closely with the tenants because, to be honest, landlords oftentimes they get a bad rep, and it's like, okay, you're just trying to evict people to increase the rent. In this particular case in Hamilton and with the Cambridge ones, there was a lot of issues with the property in terms of like electrical, plumbing, and other issues with it. And to be honest with you, it was at a point where another 10 or 15, 20 years, that property may not be livable anymore for people. So with that in mind, we spent an entire year working very closely with the tenants. I'm actually very proud of what we did. We helped them. I drove them around. We found them new apartments. So we really took care of them. And in exchange, we ended up getting that one building empty, which is 73 units. And then we worked on getting a permit to add 40 additional apartments. And that was because a lot of the units were very large. We're talking 1,300 square feet. And so we split a lot of those units, and we added 40. And for that exit, we're looking to, which Scott, you touched on MLI Select and CMHC. For that project, once we stabilize the property, we'll be able to take it to CMHC and do a payout for investors. So I think it ultimately we approach these projects. Every single project's different, and you kind of have to look at a project and see what it could be and what's realistic in terms of how to execute on your strategy.
Yeah, and I will say, I've toured 3 of your projects in total, and you guys do a great job. Like the Hamilton one, it was funny because I drove up from Windsor, and I'm trying to find parking, and he's got such a big crew there that the whole street is taken for parking. So
Yeah.
I had to, we found a spot. But I just, and I think that's testament to your work too, because even though it might take a year, and some people are thinking, maybe that's a long time, but they haven't seen the size of your crew. So you really turned over this property because it needed a lot. And I know it's getting close to completion. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic project, and I was really impressed with what you guys have done.
Good. Well, thank you very much. We have a bunch more coming up, and they're all super exciting, and we're looking for new partners. So hopefully we can post this and see if any of your partners are interested, and we can go from there.
Yeah, so in the show notes, we'll put some details on how they can reach out and kind of contact us, and then from there, yeah, we'll go over every project and listen too, guys. Like if there's one project that you don't like, it's okay. Right? There's so many other ones too. that Milan's doing and others are doing. So never feel like you're stuck or you have that mindset of, there's not going to be another one. But the goal here, from what I've seen with Milan and his group, is they really are growing. And I also think, especially because you started off small, I don't think you're opposed to smaller deals. Like obviously, everyone wants the bigger deals, but I like that you're not opposed to the smaller deals. So then, if you're someone coming in and maybe you do want a partner, but you don't have a ton of capital, but you want to make it go a long way, I think you guys bring that to the table.
Yeah, I'll leave you with like our bread and butter. We started off with these duplex conversions and triplex conversions, and increasingly now with the market where it is, those are making a lot of sense now. So we do those all the time. We do them for friends, investors. We just completed one a couple weeks ago. We help rent them, and yeah, they're performing really well, particularly in this market now.
That's awesome. Love it. Well, thanks so much for coming. I loved hearing your story and learning more about you guys, and looking forward to seeing you grow, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for having me.
No problem.